of domestic violence, which she says she experienced while dating Sean Combs. Violence that the defense admitted to in opening statements. To talk more about domestic violence, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona, who has handled sex crime cases, and former NYPD sex crimes detective Sarah Mathers, who also notably worked on the Harvey Weinstein investigation. Thank you both so much for joining with us. Bernardo, let's start with you. The defense admitted in opening statements that Combs got violent, but say that doesn't mean he was trafficking people. So does the violence matter here?
The violence absolutely matters here because it's the violence is what actually quieted Cassie as to not say anything for all those years. Look how long it took her to finally say something. And that's a common issue that you see with domestic violence victims, with sexual assault victims, because it takes them a long time, number one, to realize that they were victimized, and two, to have the courage to come forward and actually to speak to other people about what happened to them. But three, look what happens behind closed doors. You just never know what happens behind closed doors. So this violence, this her being scared, is all a part of the violence and the crimes that took place here and what the prosecution is moving forward in front of this jury piece by piece.
Sarah, you've investigated a lot of cases. How does violence factor into these types of situations?
Well, I think this shows just what Sean Combs was capable of, and it just shows the toxicity that was surrounding Cassie Ventura in her life. I think being a man of power and having the financial means that he had, and having the control over her, I think that all just led into this whole situation where now she has the strength to stand up in court and to speak her mind and state the facts and tell everyone what happened. And
definitely been slacking, bro. Straight up. I'm back though.
Was a victim.
A little late, but I'm back.
Now she's able to, speak up for herself and show the world that she's strong and that she's able to come over this and excel in her life.
There's some people up in here in the chat.
We saw text messages between Cassie and Diddy today. The defense has already said they think the messages show the consensual nature of their relationship. I'm curious though, what's your reaction to those text messages?
So when Cassie was testifying about the text messages, she also put it into context as to why she sent those text messages, what was going on in her mind, that she wanted to satisfy Sean Combs, that she wanted to be a part of this in the sense of that she was scared that if she didn't participate, what would happen to her. These are also common signs of people that are domestic violence victims, that are sexual assault victims that you see. We're ultimately going to see later on during the trial an expert come in and testify as to how and why victims like these react the way they do and are capable to send these texts that may look consensual to other people, but when you break it down mentally, you're able to see that this is a victim, a person that is broken, a person that has been tainted, a person that has been brainwashed as a result of the violence and the control that Sean Combs had over her.
Sarah, Cassie didn't come forward until 2023 with her civil suit, years after this relationship ended. In your experience, why do victims wait to come forward?
Well, every victim's story is different, and some victims respond to trauma differently. And with this situation, maybe just out of fear, like I said, he had full control over her, full control of her financially, and just based on her reputation, society, the emotional aspects, the psychological aspects that she's had to deal with. So these things take time, and she, she's doing it now, and she should be proud of herself, and we'll see how this pans out.
Sarah Mathers, Bernarda Villalona, thank you both for being with us. Still ahead, the prosecution versus the defense, the strategy from both sides when it comes to Cassie's testimony, and the portrait they're trying to paint of Sean Diddy Combs. We'll be right back.
If you're looking to get money you owed for an injury, I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way.
Welcome back to ABC News Live, day 2 of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. His ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, taking the stand revealing never before heard details about days-long drug-fueled sexual encounters with prostitutes. Cassie saying if she refused to participate, Combs became violent, and that the freak-offs became a job where there was no space to do anything else but to recover and just try to feel normal again. Our ABC News legal contributors Brian Buckmeyer and Bernardo Villalona are back with us. We're going to have y'all take sides today. Brian, you're the defense. Bernardo, you're the prosecution. Brian, let's start with you. If you were the defense attorney sitting there hearing all of these details, what are you thinking?
If I'm the defense, I'm actually not that worried, because in a case like this, they've already conceded that there is allegations of domestic abuse and violence. And I'm waiting to see the government make the connection between this is simply a man and a woman, especially a man, because we're hearing the violence from Sean Combs on to Cassie, just brutally abusing her, hitting her, all the things that we said were indefensible. But we're not seeing the connection of, was this force used to compel her to go across state lines for trafficking? Or was this simply a man who was a voyager who liked to participate in these sexual escapades that we may not agree with, but in the course of that, he used violence. So I'm looking to try to slice this with a scalpel rather than come in with a hammer and just kind of pick the case apart little by little.
Bernardo, how do you think the prosecution did today? What are they trying to do here?
So the prosecution is definitely laying out a picture, a story of the life of Cassie with Sean Combs, and especially the violent nature of it, but then the sexual nature of it. And I think what they're doing is piece by piece, they're laying out all these freak off.
Yes. We back in the building with another podcast vlog, and this is RD Podcast Vlog, and I'm your host, Hand 5000, and in my famous words, and I know y'all miss me, and I've been slacking, and one thing about slacking, bro, if I don't get it done, it ain't gonna get done, but I apologize, man. I've been a little sick, been a little cluttered with everything, and I just simply don't got no help. You know what I mean? I do a lot of content creating by myself, man. Spaz Money be here in July. And one thing about it, bro, like RDP ain't going nowhere, but over the years it slowed up. But I'm back. So I've been, as my journey throughout the day, I've been studying this Diddy case. Everybody knew since last October, September when he got arrested. We've been waiting for the trial. For one, Diddy got a speedy trial. He went to trial less than 1 year. And it's getting busy. Now, Cassie took the stand yesterday. This is day 3. Yesterday, because I was supposed to get on yesterday, but I got so tired up and busy. Now, I gotta be honest with y'all, because I know everybody want to crucify me and do shit. We gonna be in here for a couple hours. One thing that they said that I've been watching, this is a case of domestic violence. Number one. Now I'm gonna get into the crazy one. It's domestic. When it comes to Cassie and Diddy, it's a domestic violence thing. A dude, excuse my language, a dude getting into it with his woman. Point blank period. And his woman don't like certain things, whatever. You don't stay around for 10 years getting sex trafficking, getting abused, getting beat up. You don't stick around for 10 years. You don't stick around for 10 years. Diddy got too much going on. 365 days times 10. That's how much that girl said she was around that man. No way. No way. And I'm not even trying to be funny, y'all, but at a certain point in life, a man get tired of a woman. So at the end of the day, Cassie can't convince me that you stayed for 10 years. He ain't get tired of you. I mean, come on, bro. He had threesomes. He did everything in the world with you. He did everything in the world with you. Why he keep you around for 10 years? That's a love affair, bro. That's a love affair. And then another thing with all these other people picking their point. Listen, yo, Diddy don't gotta make nobody do nothing that they don't want to do. He doesn't have to do that. That's what makes me so mad in this media thing. These men do not have to do anything that they don't want to. And I'm a believer of that. They do not have to have nobody around them that's not trying to participate. It's too much money involved. People out here do anything for a $50 bill. Imagine 5,000. Imagine 50,000. Imagine getting paid to go entertain Diddy and his friends. It's tons of girls all over the globe that would jump in line and drop down and get their eagle on. For real. They would drop down and get their eagle on for Diddy. What the fuck? That's what I tripping people all over. Like, just like when they was saying that Michael Jackson mess with kids and this and that. I used to say back when I was younger, why would Mike mess with kids? If Mike is messing with kids, why go mess with children? God, it's the nastiest thing ever. You're never supposed to do that. But if Michael Jackson's going to fornicate with kids and he stays out the country, why fornicate with people and deal with people that's going to get you locked up? And you have all this money. You can get people that want to participate in this action. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. To each his own. But I'm just saying, though, when you have this much money, why do I have to force somebody to do something that they don't want to do? When I can tell them, get the fuck out my house, off my property, and I never want to see you again, and bring them hot girls in here that's getting busy. What is fun about a woman not engaging in sexual activities? Tell me. What man that parties that want a woman standing there just just getting violated and not enjoying and not participating back? It's no fun in that. It's no fun in that. That's a psychopath, bro. I don't got the man paying a psychopath with this much money. We talking about sex here, y'all. We talking about sex here, bro. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. It's girls out here. That girl could have sold out Chanel bags and do better than all of us is watching right now. I'm saying it was consensual. I'm saying the domestic violence, they got him on it. I'm saying that girl was young. When you young, you live wild and free. Diddy 30 something at the time. Hey, he's still wild. That girl was enjoying herself, busting more, having orgasms out this world, skeeting all over the place. What she didn't like was the fact that he did all this to her and then still wasn't doing right by her. She got the 30 million. She's got 3 kids. She's well off now. But this testimony, I just don't believe it, bro. I don't believe it. Let's get back into it. I don't believe it all. I'm not saying that man is 100% innocent, but I'm saying I don't believe all this shit for no 10 years, bro. You ain't gonna sit in somewhere and take something that you don't appreciate, man. Like, for real.
Moments, and now they're starting to get to the nitty-gritty part, meaning the most extreme ones, the ones that shock the conscience. For example, when she mentioned that Sean Combs would have her participate in these freak-offs when she was on her menstrual cycle. I think that right there shocks the conscience, and the prosecution did a great job in ending with that line of questioning to show the jury that, look, this is not just domestic violence, this is not just people having consensual sex. This is the type that no one will want to engage in.
And Brian, the defense has admitted that Combs had non-traditional sexual preferences. Cassie at one point was on the stand flipping through a binder of escorts that they used. We can't even say out loud some of the things that occurred on this show. Do you think the defense can really convince this jury that Cassie and these other alleged victims wanted this?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that you can take any of these allegations and say, of course Cassie wanted to do, and again, go and read it, because some of the things we're not allowed to repeat, but the brutality, the coercion, the arguments, the slapping, the dehumanization of what allegedly happened to her, I don't think anyone's going to turn around and say, well, that's just abnormal sexual encounters. But I think the defense can sidestep it and say, yes, that's a crime. You know what we call that? Rape, abuse, sexual assault. Look at the indictment and see if any of those are listed in the indictment. They're not. And I think the defense is going to try to sidestep them and say, where's the trafficking? Where were these allegations used to traffic her? Where's the criminal enterprise, and not just an inner circle or an organization of Sean Combs to help facilitate him getting from point A to point B and doing the things that he likes, even though they're state crimes and not federal crimes. I think they're going to try to sidestep it and argue somewhere else.
Bernard, I have to ask you about these details. The prosecutor is literally asking her about every little thing, down to what these rooms looked and smelled like after these freak-offs, the number of baby oil bottles used each time. Why do you think these details matter here?
So, Eva, the devil is in the details. When you're determining credibility, when you're determining believability, you want the witness to try to give you as much details as possible to determine whether that person is telling the truth. So that's why the prosecution is heavily focusing on these details, because in the end, this case rises and falls on the testimony of Cassie Ventura. And in order for the jury to find her credible and believable, they have to look at her testimony, as well as her demeanor, as well as anything that corroborates her testimony, and evaluate all of that to determine, in fact, whether Sean Combs is guilty of these crimes. So the devil's in the details, so they have to get it out.
Brian, as a defense attorney, how do you handle a cross with a witness like Cassie without taking off the jury?
Personally, I don't do it. I think I would first hire someone like Bernardo Villalona, and I think that defense is doing something very similar to that. One of the women attorneys are going to cross-examine Cassie Ventura for a number of reasons. one, this is a woman making an allegation of sexual assault on that of a man, and two, she is pregnant. The optics of that would look horrible if someone like me does this. But I think the other aspect of it, from a technical standpoint, very careful. Don't raise your voice. Don't get into an argument. Be as soft-spoken and careful as her, but be deliberate in your words and trying to say, you said this one day, and now you're saying this another day. So which one is it? Don't get into a battle with her because you're not going to look good doing so.
Brian Buckmeyer, Bernardo Villalona, thank you both for being with us.
I'm like I said, bro. I believe. Like I said, man. This is a domestic violence case. This is not a sex trafficking thing they hit and did with. Like, I mean, I'm not, like I said, bro. I'm not against, right? I'm not against, you know what I mean? What is wrong is wrong, bro. Like, we all know, you know, we got mothers, we got sisters, we got cousins, we got daughters. Everybody got that. But what I'm saying is 10 years of hanging out with somebody that's doing this to you. It's no way, Jose. It's no way you're in a public eye. You can get away. You can get away. Yo, Puff ain't never been known as no killer, no gangster. Ain't no way, bro. That girl was 19, 20, 21, 20. This is in your younger years. You loved it. That's what I'm saying. You loved it, bro. You could have been got that boy, bro. That R word is a big word in the world, bro. That R word is a big word. Woman go to anybody telling them that somebody violating them, bro. They coming to kick in your door. You stood around for 10 years. That's the only thing me, as I was a juror in a Puff case, I'd be like, why did you stay around so long? Why did you stay around so long? That's just what I want to know. Why did you enjoy the gift? You got escorts testifying saying that you called them. You brought them in. You know what I'm saying? You brought some of these men and women involved in this. You did it. And then you saying, yo, you just wanted to make them happy. Like, come on, bro. Making somebody happy, man. You was living that life. And then when that boy got tired of you and just said he ain't want to deal with you no more, you ain't like that. And everybody's saying this because of Young Miami. They saying, yo, Young Miami start putting out a lot of stuff. And them girls were sitting back saying, hell no, you never let me talk about this or whatever. And it just, Diddy's caught up in the crossfire. Diddy caught up in the crossfire, bro. Caught up in the crossfire. But I don't got him running off. I don't believe that when he ran behind her in that hotel room, I don't believe that was about a freak off. I don't believe that. It was something that they had going on, man, in this town. Like, if you mad and you don't want to do what I want you to do, I am a billionaire. Get that in your mind. He's a billionaire. He doesn't have to force nobody to do nothing, bro. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, you ain't got to do that, bro. You ain't got the lie to kick it, bro. You ain't got the lie to kick it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got the lie to kick it, bro. You know what I mean? You ain't got the lie to kick it, bro. Like, straight up. You know what I'm saying? I just don't believe it, though. I don't. And this is a story that all us journalists was going to be covering forever. Like, it's not no joke. Everybody's going to be covering this. It's day 3. Everybody's going to be covering this. Like, this is the talk of the town. It's nothing else to talk about. It's nothing. It's nothing else to talk about, bro. Like, the internet is good. This and then after this, after the Diddy, we hit towards the summer with YNW Melly and Lil Durk. By the way, YNW Melly and Durk was denied. Durk was denied bond for like the second time that he tried to get it. Melly's been denied bond for so many times. I don't know the situation with Melly. Melly should be given a bond at home. Man locked up 6 years. I don't got nothing on the man. Durk shit's still fresh. You know what I mean? They say Durk was using inmates' phone. They said Durk was dealing with inmates' phones. Like, you know, in jail, you know, you get a good deal. Get somebody make a 3-way call. When Durk was doing that, see, that's how you know Durk ain't really been locked up or really been in the whatchamacallit. Hold on, this Mom Duke's call. Mom Duke's call, you got to answer. Mom Duke's call. Mom Duke's call. You got to answer your mother. You know what I'm saying? I have to answer Mom Duke's. Mom Duke, she don't call. She calls for only serious stuff on. Yeah, Mom. Yeah, what's wrong? I'm on YouTube. What's wrong? Oh, I'll call you when I get off of YouTube, man. All right. Yeah, you gotta stop what you're doing for your mother. Like, it's no other way about it. But so this is day 3 of this shit. So I say that to say, like, bro, you don't be hanging out and you don't be around for this, and then you took the 30 million and now you testify. Like, I just want to know, bro. I'll be glad when the right witnesses get up there. Because in the middle of this trial, you're gonna get some of these people that was involved to get up there. You're gonna have somebody on Puff's side. Hey, look, man, I was doing it because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was engaged with. I never know that a bunch of jurors and a bunch of people be looking at me on camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to the party and had fun. That's what I'm with. I'm with realness. I'm not with the fake stuff. Like, a lot of people be fake, bro. Did the man really do this or he didn't, bro? Like, real talk. Like, yo, was this a love affair or is this really, he was really doing this shit? And one thing that we do know was he was putting his hands on you, which no man should do to a woman. You being much younger than him, girls are crazy. Did she initiate the first fight? We don't know. We don't know, but all I'm saying is, man, it's tough. It's tough. And people are live on the court. People are definitely out here what they
to
do.
happen. It's actually shocking. We're waiting to go in, but my people are saying that an explanation for why the Diddy tried to get Alex kicked out for something that occurred in 2018. Now, you guys, this is exclusive insider information. We are going to see if it comes to pass, but baby, it is something. Okay, let me get away from press line because I want this to be an exclusive. Okay, so Cassie and Diddy. Something happened in 2018. Now, if you guys don't know, yesterday in the courtroom, prosecutors were fighting for Alex to stay in the courtroom because at the last minute, Diddy's team did something really, really grimy. Now, every defendant has a right to say, like, yo, I don't want this person in the courtroom. Oh, also, I want to give a shout out to Mel, NYC Reviews. He bought me water and popcorn. Y'all remember Mel, NYC Reviews? We used to always do recaps of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We still might do a recap. At the very least, maybe we'll go out for lunch and take y'all along the way, okay? Morning. How are you? Yep. They are suited up. Homeland Security. Wait, that's police. Homeland Security. Homeland Security's out here. You guys, the courthouse is super safe and super secure, okay? Even if I'm standing on the street like a ragamuffin, but I'm waiting to go in. It's in the press line. I'm trying to see if I can. Thank goodness it's raining, so there's not really that many people. But anyway, let me get back to it, okay? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so here's what happened, okay? Diddy. Okay, I won't. Somebody was taking pictures, so you know I was busy posing, giving them face. Okay, so what is going on? Diddy's team pulled a last-minute dirty trick yesterday. Let me set up, and then I'll let you know what happened, okay? Every defendant has a right to say, listen, I don't want this person in court. They threaten me. They make me feel uncomfortable. Every defendant has a right to do that. However, with Diddy, what the issue was, they did it last minute. Usually when you make this request, you make it days in advance. Not as soon as your pregnant star witness is set to actually take the stand. They did it, in my opinion, to disconcert Cassie. They did it to make her feel that she was unsupported. And they did it because Sean Diddy Combs is known for, in my opinion, DICK moves. And that's what they do. To me, it seems like he still wants that control. He still wants Cassie to know, yeah, I run this. You don't do anything, and I will control everything. It's funny how Cassie did a lot of testimony about how Diddy instructed her to do everything. She couldn't even touch this sex worker without his permission, and he told her the way to touch it. And then all of a sudden in the courtroom, and she also said that he told her, oh, you're going to have to move away from each other, separate. And it's funny how in the courtroom at the last second, he was like, yeah, you and your support system, your husband, you guys need to separate. Now, listen, prosecutors were arguing. The reason Diddy said that, he was like, listen, something happened in 2018. Alex literally texted me, cursing me out about something that happened in 2018 and literally said he was going to murk me. And I said, okay, fair enough. I heard Cassie's testimony. If you guys don't know, I did an amazing live, if I do say so myself, about what Cassie's testimony was. I didn't think it was the prosecution's strongest day as far as invoking pure emotion from the jury.
Yeah, hold up. Let me pause this, Todd. That's me right there. Let me tell you something. I want y'all to know, because I'm following this. I'm really, in my car, whatever. And ain't looking bad for Diddy. Day 1, 2, 3, and I ain't. Cassie King, that's their biggest witness. This is what I'm trying to get in y'all head. That's their biggest witness. That's their whole case around Cassie. You know what I mean?
They said prosecution did an amazing job. But again, I'm talking from the everyman standpoint because I'm thinking about the way it goes in the jury. I feel like sometimes lawyers and legal analysis talk to each other so much that they see a game that we don't. They're more into the technical skill, but I'm more into what's landing with the jury because that's what actually counts. You can run the best trial. The jury isn't feeling you. They're just not feeling you. And we all know there are guilty people walking free and there are innocent people in jail. So it is up to the prosecution or the defense attorney to direct the jury into making seeing what the true fact is. That's why you hire them. Anyway, let's get back into that 2018 move. Diddy was like, yo, y'all separate, right? And after he made all that mess when Cassie was about moments forward, I do feel like Judge Aaron should have said, like, no, you should have made this 12 hours in advance, 24 hours in advance. No, it is Diddy's right, but it was tactical maneuvering. They're saying that is the reason why the prosecutors were kind of thrown off in their questioning because they could not talk about a 2018 event. And anything when it led up to Cassie talking about her feelings, the way Diddy mentally abused her, physically abused her, put her in humiliating, degrading sexual acts, it all led up to that 2018 incident. Keep in mind, Cassie did testify that they broke up around 2018. So what happened in 2018 that made Alex lose his mind, tell Diddy he was basically going to murk him, and have Diddy being like, well, I don't want you here because I have the text messages from 2018. Well, apparently, in 2018, Cassie said it's going to testify today that Diddy raped her. Cassie is going to testify that Diddy raped her. Yeah, exactly. In 2018, something happened with Diddy and Cassie. It was violent. It was disgusting. It completely pushed back down Cassie's boundaries and made her think that she is never, ever, ever, ever going to come back and entertain him in any way, shape, or form. Now, you have to ask yourself, are these rumors about Cassie going to testify about Diddy's violent rape of her? Will it come to fruition? We will see. This is my insider tea information. We will see if it comes to pass. But to me, it tracked because something happened in 2018. Something happened that made Cassie say, I'm never coming back. And it pushed back all of Cassie's boundaries. And you got to think, Cassie had been sex trafficked. She had to do freak offs. She had to do all this stuff. So what could have pushed by her boundaries so much that she was like, yeah. What could have pushed past her boundaries so much that she was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore? You really, really have to wonder. Anyway, we're walking into trial. Let me see if I can just keep this on the low, right? So you really have to wonder. We're walking in right now. You really have to wonder what could have happened.
I get back to her. Well, they sitting in it. You know what I mean? Nobody can hear what's going on in the federal courthouse.
Cause these niggas all cat, and that's why a lot of these niggas is old. Them niggas ain't got no wives. Them niggas sitting up in the house by themselves looking like bookmen.
Man.
Straight like that. Nigga ain't got no family. Nothing. Niggas just insecure and unhappy in life, nigga. Meanwhile, look at what happened. Cassie got away from this punk bitch. She's married. She got 3 kids, and she's happy.
Damn, he mad at Diddy. I go to war with some of these dudes. I go to war. Because at the end of the day, bro, you know, I got a mom. You know what I'm saying? I got sisters, whatever, daughter, whatever. Don't nobody want nobody doing that to their peoples. But what's your peoples?
A warning for you. It's late. Still got to give you the warning, though. What you're about to hear.
You're thinking about selling a house anywhere in northern Maryland, including the blue areas on this map?
Graphic and disturbing. There's a lot that we can't even say on TV. Even for a case packed with shocking details, what came out today,
it's really day 3.
Was
they hit it.
Next level. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's on again, off again girlfriend of many years. She's married now. She's due to give birth any second. So prosecutors did not waste any time getting her story to the jury. She was up on the witness stand first thing this morning, just minutes after being sworn in. She was shown an image from that 2016 hotel surveillance video of Diddy beating her. You see, we've got the courtroom sketches here. She was asked to describe it, and she said, "That is me and Sean. We were having an encounter. We call it a freak off." Those freak offs are what Cassie said became her only job. Cassie told the jury that Diddy forced her into drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts while he watched, sometimes sitting in the corner and masturbating. Through tears, she said she took drugs to numb herself, ecstasy, cocaine, and ketamine, all of it allegedly supplied by Diddy. She said the freak-offs included as many as 4 male escorts at once. It typically lasted 36 to 72 hours. The longest, she said, the longest freak-off that she said she was forced to perform in lasted 4 days. She said they took place around the world, from New York to Miami to Spain, to even Turks and Caicos. And at every stop, Cassie said the hotel rooms were stocked by Diddy's staff with baby oil, condoms, and drugs. And she says that these hotel rooms, this is disgusting, the hotel rooms were left covered in baby oil and covered in blood and covered in urine. Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless. But she said she couldn't say no because she says Diddy threatened to release videos of the freak-offs with her in them. And through it all, she said Diddy was in control of every aspect of her life, where she lived, what she wore, right down to the color nail polish that she was allowed to wear. And if she stepped out of line, she said that he took her keys and her phone, and often she testified that he did far worse than that. She again became emotional, describing what she said was near constant physical abuse. This is a quote. She said, "He would knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head." And this is what she talked about all day long in this New York City courtroom. We've got News Nation national correspondent Caitlin Becker. She was in court for all of this. She joins me now live from outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan.
It's
Again,
just hey,
camera's not allowed.
I gotta
So Caitlin,
I gotta react to this. That's vicious. That's vicious, bro. That's vicious. Like I said, the prosecutor got their star witness up there. Their big dog witness is Cassie. And to hear some of the things, bro, that ain't right at all. I'm a man, I'm a grown man. You get what I'm saying? And I don't all the shit she's saying, when you listening to it, it sounds fucked up. But my question, and it's 8 men on the jury and 4 females on the jury. My question, and most importantly, my question is, was you really did he really do all this? Like, for real? Like, is you saying this? Like, why you take so long to come with this? That's my question. Like, why you got married and this and that? Then you called him up and threatened to do it and got $30 million. Was this about money? Now you got the money. You got the money already. Now you're going for the finisher one. Which one is it? Which one is it? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if this really happened, Puff's a piece of shit. But we know that Puff, put his hands on it. We all saw it. Everybody saw the tape. It's not right at all. But women put their hands on men and men put their hands on women. We not condoning it at all. But it happens. It's just but when you say, freak offs and getting cheated and making you be with male escorts and shit like that is bananas. But are you into that? I ain't into that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't into hiring no male escorts to wear my girl out. But you can, in some stories, in some instances, you hear about people doing that type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? And the word no can be used. You said yes before. That's my thing. You was with it and then you got tired of it. That's my thing. That's my thing. That's my thing. If y'all was together 10 years and you were constantly doing this, like, come on. Like, come on, Cass. You gotta come a little better than that. You got him on the domestic violence. You got him on. Sometimes I got two, but you saying you put the drugs in you and you get open. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that been around people that love them, that cocaine, that Molly or that ecstasy with the liquor and the marijuana, that's a party drug. You get loose after that. You taking this to get loose. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I just don't feel like that man made you do nothing that you didn't want to do. Now you saying you got tired of it and didn't want to do it, and he pushing you more. You know what I mean? That's like a rat. If you go to school, you get in the police station, you try to tell them something, they gonna make you tell them everything. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't decide once you rat, you ain't gonna do it no more. You get what I'm saying? So now you into this, y'all into this threesomes, y'all into this kinky stuff, and now you tired of it. And now he wants to keep doing it, and now y'all beefing, and you never moved on. Like, I understand the man's rich, and I understand money had power. But to violate a woman in the way that she saying she was violated will send you to prison as soon as you go to authorities and tell them. So what kept you quiet for 10 years if you felt embarrassed and violated and disrespected and didn't want to engage in this? Why the F will you keep doing it or keep being in situations where you had to go? It's been plenty of times through that whole relationship that you wasn't around him. It's no way that he kept an eye on you 24/7, 365. It's impossible. It's impossible to do. The man went to sleep. It's so many opportunities for you to get away. Why you never got away? It's been people that's been chained up in basements and held beyond their will. I don't believe you was held beyond your will. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is where a good time turns bad. You know what I mean? A good time turns bad, bro. You know what I mean? But let's get back into it.
Her for him to accept her, and she said many times that the reason she continued to go along with these freak-offs is because it was the only time she felt like she had one-on-one interactions with the man she had fallen in love with, Brian.
Hold up.
And again,
did y'all hear that? She said the only reason why she did this so she could be with Puff to make him happy. Come on, bro. Come on.
Prosecution star witness.
Was for him to love her, for him to accept her. She said many times that the reason she continued to go along with these freak-offs is because it was the only time she felt like she had one-on-one interactions with the man she had fallen in love with, Brian.
And again, we're looking at the.
I gotta play that again. That's a major part.
To get that information out. Right before she answered it, she kind of did, because she seemed to struggle with wanting to give that answer. But as we heard her describe these, for a lot of people, grotesque sexual activities, for other people, maybe that's normal for them. But for her, it didn't seem like something she said she wanted to do. But that's not really where she broke down in tears. When she broke down in tears and needed a tissue and needed a moment to compose herself was when she described the fact that all she said she wanted was for him to love her, for him to accept her. And she said many times that the reason she continued to go along with these freak-offs is because it was the only time she felt like she had one-on-one interactions with the man she had fallen in love with, Brian.
Okay.
And again, we're looking at these sketches now of her crying. It's hard, though, for us on the outside to get a sense of what this was really like. And obviously, she is the prosecution's star witness, and they've interviewed her before. Did it feel rehearsed? Did it feel spontaneous? How would you describe sort of her demeanor up there?
Genuine is the best way I can describe it. She did really seem to struggle with wanting to answer questions that were very revealing about her life. I don't know, there's almost a way that you could still see that in her there was some affection and love, not maybe for him in the room certainly, but for the person that she once loved back then. She described her naivete when she was 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, meeting him, getting into this world, really not knowing how anything worked. She said she was almost completely sexually inexperienced by the time she met him. And there were a few times where she appeared sort of nervous and needed the prosecutor to repeat a question or maybe rephrase something or refresh her memory. And a few times where she said, you know, I just don't remember. So no, it really did not seem rehearsed in the slightest. It did seem like this is her story, and she didn't really want to be in a position where she had to tell it in this way, but was doing what needed to be done.
And just quickly, Caitlin, what was Diddy doing when he's sitting there. I'm just envisioning you've got his family sitting behind him with all these grotesque details. This woman on the stand. What was his reaction?
You know, first and foremost, he came into the courtroom and acknowledged his children. That is something he has done every single day. But during the actual testimony, when things got really dark, one of the mothers of one of his children had to get up and leave the courtroom. She couldn't sit through it. And you, Brian, have been in so many of these court cases the way I have. You know that the defendant is not supposed to react. But Diddy reacted. There were a few times where he was shaking his head no, kind of nodding along. There was a deep sigh at one point. But in two instances, one when they were talking about baby oil and the fact that it needed to be reapplied at sometimes 5-minute intervals because that's what he wanted to see. And then another instance when Kathy revealed the pseudonyms that he uses at hotels, that he actually pushed his chair all the way back from the defense table and kind of was like sort of taken aback by it. So that was very, very visible there.
Hold up, let me read some of this card, man. Big bro, victims really be terrified. Some be grounded, slow to catch on. That's what's done in the dark comes to the light. Well, I'm gonna say this to you, right? I'm gonna say this to you. I mean, this is so honestly, right? That's true. 100%, Roy Bell. That is true. That is 100% true to victims that you know this shit happened to. It doesn't have nothing to do with money and power. That's a difference, bro. We walk past women, we date women that things like this happen to with no agenda. You understand what I'm saying? With no agenda. You know what I mean? Because they homeless, because they don't have nothing, because they've been abused and messed up by their fathers and uncles and stuff like that. Get what a duty start doing. It's women that's really going through this. But when you mention consensual, bro, it's what this woman said. I did this to get closer to him. You get what I'm saying? You 19 years old, okay, you dealing with a 30-year-old, he brainwashed you. You know what I mean? He getting out of it. But what I'm saying is that when the word comes into play, right? The word comes into play from a person that's rich, very, very wealthy. Why am I forcing you to do something that you don't want to do? Why am I forcing you something that you don't want to do? It's too many lights, cameras, and actions around this man's life. This woman was involved in what she wanted to involve in to make him happy. When he stopped not paying attention to it and was moving on, that's when all this stuff come out. You know, understand what I'm saying? The domestic violence, he out of order. I mean, Kim Porter and his other wives and other ladies have things to probably say. The man rich. But what she saying the man did is abnormal. That's insanity. That's insanity. And what they're charging with the dude with is saying, hey, if I want to fly out something that I like to come party with me and my girl, that's trafficking. That's trafficking. That's what they saying. This man is having threesomes and engaging in sexual activity, bro, which is free of charge. He's charged with that. If they would have charged him in California for the domestic violence charge that he had with Cassie, we'd tell you, boy, you might get 5 out that. But trumped up charges, you know, false allegations mixed with real allegations makes you punch drunk on the allegations. I mean, people tell the truth. We just caught a girl that said Jay-Z and Diddy, baked her. You know what I mean? We just saw a girl do that and they come find her home. Daddy said, I didn't pick her up and nothing like that happened to my daughter. So, man, I am confused, homie. I'm sorry that I just cannot jump the gun, bro. You know, it's women in my family and women in my life that things of that nature happen to. And they got fucked up by it. You understand what I'm saying? But for somebody to be running around hanging out, bro, she just said it, bro. The lady just said it. She said on the stand, I did the shit to get closer to him. That I felt like I had to let niggas basic guys run a train on me because I loved him so much and I wanted to press him. Like, what? Like, come on. Now, if you're rich doing this every day, know both suspects and victim, money quiets everything. That's the behind closed doors. Exactly, bro. If you want to say money quiets everything, bro, once you take the money, you're in. That's my point. You took the word, you helped me get my point across. Once you take the money, you in. Once you pick up that gun, you in. Once you pick up them drugs, you in. Once you go to the party and take off, you better pop that condom on and fuck, get, you in. Ain't no turning around when you in. That's my point. When you in, you in. Like let's be clear of that, bro. You can't be down one day and don't be down the next day, bro. That spark flames, bro. You know that. You know that. You can't say I'm with it, then and you ain't with it. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. She got that deal. She was living a life she never had. You know what I'm saying? She got involved in this. She said yes. She wanted to impress him, make him happy, and then it continue on and on and on and on. I'm not telling you that it's right at all, bro. Some of the shit that she's saying, I'm saying, damn, Diddy, you out of order. But I'm also keeping a clear head to the fact, like, hold up, Cassie. Women can be over dramatic, bro. Women can be lying and shit, bro. She just got 30 million from the man, bro. Call the man up, straight. I'ma tell it all. She get 30 million. Now she coming for the whatchamacallit. I don't know, bro. I don't know her reasons, bro. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm just saying, though. You don't hang around nobody 10 years, bro. 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 10 years. That notice what they say, on and off girlfriend. Plenty of times you got away from that man. Plenty of times. You was dating Kid Cudi. You had other boyfriends along the line, sweetheart. See, that's what y'all gotta do. Y'all gotta look in this shit for real. She had boyfriends along the line. You keep coming back. You must like something over here. Because the first time somebody violates you, man, there's women out here that get brainwashed. It's true indeed. But it's also women, family members that ain't going for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, come on. You leave and come back. We all witnessed that in our families, with our sisters, with our mothers. They say they tired of situations and they go back and forth. That's why certain people don't get involved. That's why some people don't get involved. Because, man, that girl gonna go back to that dude gonna go back to that girl. So where I'm from, people mind their business. Now, where I'm from, we stand on business, truth. That nothing else counts. Truth, not no in between. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, listen, what I'm saying is because hey, let me break down this toxic shit because this has all been a new word. It's been a big word that everybody using, toxic relationship. All right, let's get to it. When you speak of toxic, because by the way, I'm not taking up for nothing. I'm just speaking my mind, giving my opinion, like if I was a jury. On and off girlfriend. Let's get that. Let's start with that evidence right there. On and off girlfriend, meaning that we broke up. She ain't like shit. She came back. You don't go back to toxicity. You don't go back when you got your way out. If do what I'm saying, if you being done like she's being done, and years ago y'all broke up and you don't deal with them, and then 6-7 months later you come back. Come on, bro. Come on, yo. Come on, yo. Toxic relationships is in the house. Hey, shit. That for you to say, me and my peoples go at it. You know what I'm saying? Arguing and fussing. It happens. But when you leave and you come back, you know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? True story. True story. True story. You know what I mean? Nah, man. Like I said, bro, one thing about me, I ain't going one thing about me, right? I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it real with you. It ain't got nothing to do with man or woman. It got something to do with humanity, right? I'm not the type of person, bro, to not understand that some people think that getting this person love them and it takes a long time to get out of that, bro. Ordered off meaning that you left and you came back. Okay, you left and you came back. 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 People break up because they broke. People break up because somebody cheated. People roll out because of many things. I'm just not gonna find a man guilty because of this. But you called him up and asked for the 30 million. And then you supposed to have to close their head. That's how cruddy the feds is. One thing I'm not gonna believe is the man ever baped her. I'm never gonna believe he ever baped her. He got me on that. I don't believe that. And then you had escorts testify and said that she ordered him up. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, bro. Like Jeffrey Epstein and them guys like that was doing weird stuff, man. I just believe this man was just me, honestly. I believe that people, when she got that first money, I just believe that people saw opportunity, bro. And they going there. And because that one girl got knocked off, and you know what I'm saying? And Cassie was dealing with Kid Cudi. She had a few boyfriends along the line. She was out of that situation quite a few times. Y'all go do the research and look it up. She had moved on, but then she came back. She signed a 10 album deal, which is idiotic, but most artists do it at 19. If she would have been putting out music, she's 38 now, she'd have got them 10 albums done. Believe that'll probably more. But I don't want to get into the
notes and handed them to a defense attorney, Brian, and of course.
But the boy Diddy did like this in court. Bro, yo, y'all got to see a boy through the heart up, bro. The boy through the heart up. I don't know, man. I just don't think they're gonna find him guilty on everything.
We'll see you again tomorrow.
But
bombshell testimony.
But like I said again, just be 100% with you. That's a tough cookie, bro. It's a tough cookie, and domestic violence is never right in no type of ways. It happens throughout the communities, all cultures, and then some people just be straight out of order. You know what I'm saying? And it's no justification to that. But when you got a man on trial for what this man on trial and being accused of, you have to listen to it. You have to put in your mind, you just can't jump the gun, because a lot of people just gonna jump the gun. You know what I mean? This is day 3. They just getting their big witness out the way. But you know what I'm saying? What happens when, the defense get their turn? All I'm saying is that, her testimony is shocking. And I think, part of it was rehearsed. I think some things happened to her, but I think, 80% of the stuff was voluntary and she was doing it. And maybe at the end of their, relationship and certain things, maybe, like I said, the domestic violence, Diddy guilty 100 times, but a lot of that stuff that they putting together overall, you know what I'm saying? I don't believe it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I believe he did something. Like from day one, I should believe that, anything, any rich person or man of color get in a certain position, they gonna bring up crazy charges, bro. Just like crazy shit, bro. Like, but overall, outside of the Cassie, the man is being charged with having sex and partying. You get what I'm saying? And and if you're grown and you're mature, you know what them parties like. Man, I'm not talking about Diddy parties. Forget a Diddy party. We've been having them type parties when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, yo, when you party, you know what I mean? That stuff is in it. I grew up, you know what I'm saying, with the Cisco and the night train and stuff like that. You put a bunch of liquor in the punch bottle and smoke as much chronic, and man, a time you will have. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna listen to it like I've been listening to it, and I'm gonna fill it out. This ain't like the Young Thug case where we can sit there and watch and actually hear. It's the federal government, so they don't allow things like that. This trial's gonna take a few weeks, but I don't know, man. Everybody's saying, Cassie, she did this was a tough testimony. I feel like 50% of it, the 50% of it, the jury going to buy, 50% the jury not going to buy. You know what I mean? And it's tough. And I think, and now that I think about the trial, I think they really took Puff to trial before she dropped the baby. You know what I mean? To paint this narrative. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, certain charges that the feds simply can't add, like domestic violence. That's not a like federal offense. So they hit this man with sex trafficking and the RICO. That's why I'm y'all confused it there. You know what I'm saying? And he's looking at a lot of time, but I just don't think they go like Lil K, like Lil K Flop. You get what I'm saying? He went federal. They didn't find him guilty of the charges that you thought they was gonna find him guilty of. No, they didn't. He's still gonna get a massive time, but I don't. I don't got it. I don't got it happen. I don't got it happen. Diddy more looking like a mistrial. To be honest, I think he's gonna get a hung jury. I ain't gonna lie. It started to day 3 of the trial has started, man. And it's so crazy with this trial because you follow Young Thug trial and you follow some of these big trials and court TV. You actually get to see it, but you never get to see the federal trials. You never get to see the federal trial. So, I'm gonna get back into that puff because I'm hanging out for a little bit. But make sure y'all hit that notification, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, and so many people are talking. CNN, what CNN got to say? Nobody's going right now to the new. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
The prosecution's star witness taking the stand, but it was more than that. It was how Cassie took that stand. You could hear a pin drop when those doors opened, and a visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura
Here we go.
walking past
It's an
man
update
she's
1 hour
not
ago.
seen in 6.5 years. A man she says violently abused her for a decade. A man the prosecution said trafficked her. Well, she sat across from him, placed her overcoat behind her, turning her body slightly toward the jury, rubbing her pregnant belly throughout her testimony.
Oh yeah, that was staged.
Diddy, well, he was more fidgety than he was the day before. He was passing notes. He pushed himself away from the defense table and largely sat like that. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying about having loved him once and planning and participating in these freak-off sex parties because she feared him and she wanted to make him happy, but feeling worthless, feeling disgusting because she didn't want to do it. Now, with each moment, the testimony became more and more graphic. Her delivery, though, it never changed. It was, matter of fact, steady, calm. At times, she was even critical of herself, walking us all through how a 10-album record deal came over a 10-year period of abuse and sexual humiliation. And once we hear Cassie's testimony, you'll understand why the courtroom was so tense. She described the freak-offs in lurid detail. She testified about Diddy, who she called Sean, choreographing it all. And she explained a pattern of physical abuse that she could not escape. Cassie told the jury about one freak-off at a hotel where Diddy told her to get into an inflatable pool filled with warm baby oil. The prosecutor asked, "What concerns did you have about not getting into the pool with baby oil?" Cassie responded, quote, that, amongst other things, just his temper. If that is something that he wanted, Sean wanted to happen, that was going to happen. There wasn't another way around it. Now, Cassie claims that Diddy controlled everything about her life and his staff helped him do it. She also says all aspects of the freak-offs went through Diddy for approval, from how he directed her to finding escorts, at times from Craigslist, to her appearance and what she wore, and even what happened during the encounters with the other men. She testified, quote, every freak-off was like directed by Sean, like he knew specifically where he wanted everyone to be, the lighting and such. Cassie says the freak-offs made her feel disgusting, humiliated. She says she took all kinds of drugs to numb herself and disassociate. And she testified Diddy frequently got physically abusive. One of those times was during a 2016 incident at a California hotel. This video. Cassie says she was in a freak-off with Diddy and an escort just a couple of days before her first big movie premiere. She claims Diddy gave her a black eye, and all she could think about was getting out of there safely. So she ran out while Diddy was in the shower, she says. The prosecutor asked, quote, how many times had Sean thrown you to the ground like that before? Cassie responded, too many to count. I don't know. Cassie was also asked if there were occasions when she tried to fight back when he would hit her. She said, no. Cassie's testimony is far from over. She'll be back on that stand tomorrow. And her lawyer, though, says she's feeling good after today.
How do you feel after today? It's not for me to decide how we feel. It's up to the jury. But we're very confident. How's Cassie doing after it all? How is she feeling? I know it must have been a lot to kind of, recount all the experiences.
It was a long day. I'm just super proud of her.
Let's start off with CNN's Kara Scannell, who has been covering this case from the very beginning, and she was in the courtroom today, virtually a front row seat.
Nobody
Kara,
keep calling the freak
tell me,
off, man.
how did the testimony come in? How were these freak-offs orchestrated?
So Cassie kind of walked the jury through what her role was in the freak-offs and how she said that Combs had choreographed them. He was the director in charge. And what she described was that these freak-offs lasted from 36 to 72 hours. The longest one, she said, lasted 4 days. And through that period, she said her role had evolved from initially Combs setting up the first one to then it becoming essentially her job. These freak-offs, she said, were occurring weekly. And what she was responsible for was finding these escorts, using Craigslist, some of these other escort services, helping them travel to certain locations from Miami to Ibiza, to New York, to LA, to Las Vegas. And that she worked with Combs's business travel people in order to move people around, saying that they would project that they were potential employers and getting them to move. But she said that he had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak-offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting, that he was directing how they moved from each action of each sexual act in these freak-offs, and even the amount of baby oil that they were wearing. She said that he wanted them to be glistening, and so he would often encourage them to put on more baby oil. And then the drug use. Part of that testimony, she said, was that she had engaged and used numerous drugs, including ecstasy, GHB, ketamine, cocaine, marijuana, and the prosecution showed text messages where before a freak-off, she is texting Combs asking, which colored pill do I take from your Louis Vuitton med bag? And he directed her which one to take.
It was astonishing to have all of this come in and the tempo with which she spoke. The jury in this room leaning in at times to hear more information. She also described what she feared most about defying him.
Right. I mean, she walked through what the range of these fears were, from physical to just if she upset him, he would take away her phone, her car, limit her access to her apartment. Sometimes that was done by him, sometimes through members of his staff, some of his security team. She also was testifying that, these physical threats. One thing that stood out to me that she said was if she made the wrong face, the next thing I knew I was getting hit in the face. And she said he controlled almost every aspect of her life. He gave her essentially busy work, a to-do list, so he would know what she was doing at all times. If he couldn't reach her, he was incessantly texting her until someone went and checked to see where she was. She also said that he controlled her appearance. Sometimes he didn't like her hair. He wanted her to dress sexy, sometimes a tomboy. He wanted her nails to be white, she testified, especially during the freak-offs. And one thing that she said she was concerned about was blackmail, because a lot of these freak-offs were recorded, and the big concern was hers that they could end up in the internet if somehow she did something to upset her.
We're just a half day into this testimony. There's so much more. And the jury was shown that now infamous 2016 hotel surveillance video for now, a fifth or more time today? Why do you think the prosecution continues to show this video, sometimes stopping it and showing parts?
Yeah, they've been showing this at least 5 times on my account and going kind of moment by moment. And I think what they're trying to do here is they've charged Combs with sex trafficking by force and coercion. And part of that force is physical violence and the threat of physical violence. I mean, this is why Combs's lawyer has called this probably the most important piece of evidence in this whole trial, because that is how the prosecution will want to show the jury that there was violence, that it was real. You can't distinguish this. They're not denying this happened. What Combs' lawyers is trying to tell the jury, though, that this is not evidence of sex trafficking. It's evidence of domestic violence, which he owns, but they're saying is a very different thing than what he's been charged with.
I want to start with you, Stacey, because her testimony, did it prove there was a criminal enterprise? That's they got to prove for RICO.
Right. So I look at her testimony today as domestic violence on steroids. The prosecution is trying to show that there was coercion and that he used his business enterprise to engage in coercing women to fulfill his sexual desires. I think it's a little bit of a stretch. I understand there are all kinds of criminal activities being alleged here. But the racketeering and the sex trafficking charges, I'm not sure that Cassie made that out today.
It's
Now,
only
there
day
may be
2
more.
though,
It's
right?
only
I
day
mean,
two.
and you're looking
They're
at this,
trying
it's
for it.
it's day 2.
Yeah.
So the jury, and this is, by the way, an 8 to 10 week trial.
Yeah.
They have a lot to show, but they called her almost first. She's getting ready to give birth probably in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she's the most critical witness, and there's a reason for that because, yes, the case is not made yet, but she's laid the foundation for establishing those charges for the prosecution. And here's how. With respect to sex trafficking, we heard about the power dynamic, that he was always in control. We heard about stomping, kicking, hitting, all of these physical acts to get her to comply, psychological abuse, blackmail. That's where we get our force, fraud, and coercion. And as far as RICO, she kind of put the O in organization in RICO by naming individuals who were in his sphere and were doing his bidding and talking about what would be the predicate underlying crimes.
But more than
Drugs,
that,
guns,
they
prostitution.
showed the picture. They actually tried to put a face to what they were calling the enterprise. Remember in the opening statements, they were saying it was the inner circle, the bodyguards, trusted assistants. They actually went through and showed pictures to the jury today of various bodyguards trying, I guess we were talking about, to establish that enterprise. But then there was this moment, Jeremy, where she actually said on the stand, eventually it became a job for me. She's talking about planning these freak offs. Eventually it became a job for me to where I knew that if that is something that he wanted to do, I had the contacts to set it up and get a hotel room and all of that. And sometimes she'd even give deposits on her own personal credit card. So is she part of the enterprise or the victim of it?
Well, the defense is going to try to make her out to be part of this. She's not a victim. She's there willfully. She's getting this 10 contract or 10 record deal. This is what she's doing. And the prosecution in return is going to say, you can white knuckle someone's neck with control. You can white knuckle their soul with control. And that's the control he had over her at all times.
Bauer makes it.
One girl said he put the O, and she's saying that Diddy put the O in organization. Hell no. I know what they were trying to do with my brother. The defense attorney. Man, I don't know, man. Everybody just putting their joints off, but they in trial now. But I gotta get to my man. I gotta get to the guy. Definitely gotta get to my man. I gotta get to my man. Tory Lanez was stabbed in prison 14 times. Let's hear this.
Opening his 4-day trip to the Middle East by paying a visit to Saudi Arabia's crown prince. The country's de facto ruler, Mohammed bin Salman, will meet with Trump and members of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Saudi Arabia and other OPEC nations have stepped up oil production as part of President Trump's plan to lower inflation for Americans. The president believes lower oil prices will also help end Russia's war on Ukraine. The leaders will also discuss the war in Gaza as well as efforts to dismantle Iran's nuclear program. Today, a key witness will testify against disgraced hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Cassandra Ventura, also known as R&B singer Cassie, was Combs' longtime on-again, off-again girlfriend for more than a decade. She's expected to testify after security video showed Combs beating and kicking her in a Los Angeles hotel hallway in 2016. Combs is accused of forcing several victims into drug-fueled sex parties. He has pleaded not guilty to all of the sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution charges against him.
Rapper Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in a California prison and rushed to a hospital. Officials say that attack happened Monday morning at California's State Correctional Institution. Lanez is currently serving 10 years for shooting Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. His lungs collapsed after that attack, but his team says he's now breathing on his own and he's in good spirits. The motive for this attack is unclear. An investigation is now underway. Lanez's team thanked fans for their prayers and support.
Damn, Tory. Yeah, that's what. That's what I was ready to tell y'all. So this my type of talk. So Tory Lanez's house and you know what I mean, for shit sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Put that link up there for me, Spaz. Listen. Shout out to Third World. That's the producer, Raw Dope. Kind of like when Third World get around, man. That's my, that's Third World. Just tell y'all a little bit about it. That's my producer. So we got a lot of content coming. Me and Third World, a lot of content coming, man. I'm getting into the skits. We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot to go. Just go over to that Third World channel. Y'all gonna see. You know what I mean? So Tory Lanez was stabbed in prison. And in California, Arizona, California, probably Denver, a lot in the Midwest and the West Coast, and even upstate New York, we don't go through it in DOC in Maryland as much as these other prisons go through. And that means race wars and race riot. So Tory Lanez was stabbed by a Hispanic. And I'm 100% sure that, he's not a gang member. And if he is, he's just walking the yard. So what happens in like California, to be specific, when a Hispanic or a Caucasian attack a person, whether he's Spanish or Vietnamese, it starts a race war. And one of the biggest race war in prison is blacks versus somebody. Blacks versus somebody. That's the biggest wars. The black guys got all team up, no matter if you blood, crip, whatever gang you in, all of y'all become one to fight the other races. And all the races get with their gangs and they come and they all want to fight the black man. Yeah. And Flacco just said it. Then I'm gonna get into poetic Flacco and people input. When I saw the picture of the guy that's accused of allegedly stabbing Tory Lanez, I said, man, Tory Lanez helped a couple brothers get out of prison. I'm quite sure he was doing, right for, different brothers. And I said, man, shit, that might spark a race war. Here you go, Flacco posted. Tory Lanez, it's a race war started, a big one, because they stabbed the celebrity and stabbed the dude that was helping dudes out there. And what did he get stabbed for? He got stabbed 7 in the morning. And I don't know what he got stabbed for. And I know he knows the politics of prisons. You know what I mean? It's TV for the blacks, TV for Hispanics, TV for the whites and the Mexicans, whatever. I know he understands the politics. He's been locked up for a minute. So the man was stabbed 14 times, a couple times in his head, torso, body. The boy just went to work with him on the knife before the guards coming to get you. Fortunately, his life was spared. All praises due to Allah. He survived. They said he's breathing on his own, and hopefully he has a full recovery. He has a full recovery, but we don't know if he into something. We don't know. We don't know. But what I'm saying to you is that I believe it's going to start a race war in that California facility because, Tory Lanez, like, what you stabbed him for? What you was really mad about? Because he had money or nothing, or y'all got into it. And then certain things in prison, you have to ask for permission. Now, you got some dudes that go hard and go ahead and crash out. But most of the things in prison, especially a prison that's populated with gangs, you just don't do anything. And if it is, it's two civilians beefing with two civilians. That's that's what you call land wars. That's just things that go on the land. But far as men in a facility, you just don't go around and stab any man up. You know what I'm saying? You're not allowed to do that. You just can't go stab nobody up. So because this individual stabbed Tory Lanez for whatever reason it may be, I think it's gonna heard some people, and I heard some, leak phone calls and some content creators with dudes that got the bikes out there and say, yeah, they don't lock up right now for this, but when they come off, it's on. You get what I'm saying? So, a few dudes just heard about that. But let me hear what Flacco had to say about this.
Involving Tory Lanez earlier today has started a race war in this Los Angeles prison, and we're going to explain everything. We got the entire detail. TMZ reported earlier today, a rep for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation confirms that Tory Lanez was attacked by another prisoner in a housing unit at California Correctional Institute in Tahacapahapi. Hey, bro, that's a name I never heard before, bro. It's probably a good thing I never heard it. Around 7:20 in the morning, prison staff dashed to the scene and began administering first aid to Tory after calling 911. Tory was then rushed to a hospital off prison grounds to receive more treatment. The CDCR spokesperson did not disclose Tory's current condition. They was plying on that boy and wanted Tory badly, bro. 7 a.m. in the morning, this when you getting out yourself for breakfast. So to pump this man up before you even had a full meal, before you done filled your belly up, doing this first thing in the morning shows, bro, this was on your mind all night. All night. Yeah. Now, I was told this wasn't in the yard as people is reporting, and this wasn't in his cell. this was in a common area that this took place. Tory's team took to his Instagram to confirm he was indeed stabbed. They will say that Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times, including 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torsos, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. This was a murder hit, bro. If you thought this was anything else than a murder, you're out of your mind, bro. They wanted this man out the paint.
Yeah.
They wanted this man gone. Both of his lungs collapsed, and he was placed on a breathing apparatus. He is now breathing on his own. Despite being in pain, he is talking normally, in good spirits, and deeply thankful to God that he is pulling through. He also wants to thank everyone for their continued prayers and support. This wasn't over no gambling debt. This wasn't over all the other nonsense we've heard. This was something really serious. This was intentional. This was something that was to send a message. Because Tory Lanez have been adapting to the prison life a little too well. And we're going to explain exactly what I mean by that. But first, let's hear from somebody directly at the prison who can confirm that the Mexicans were who stabbed Tory Lanez. Now, this audio comes from Spider-Loc on YouTube. Spider-Loc is a LAOG who was able to tap in with somebody directly from their prison. He recorded the conversation. People I tapped in with ain't want to be recorded. So I'm going to play you guys Spider-Loc's recording, and then I'm going to break down exactly what I heard.
Oh, yeah, I hear you now.
What it do, cuz?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
What's Gucci?
What's cracking?
What it do, Fine?
Shit, not much for real, right? This morning, bro, the Mexican out and bust on the boy Tory. You know, they airlifted him and all that, so you know, no, that's gonna respond when we come off this shit, we're gonna respond right away to that.
They laid the yard down?
No, it happened in the building.
The response tell you how they're viewing this. They're not viewing this as an isolated incident, as an incident where somebody in Tory Lanez has some issues individually and things went how men handle it individually and Tory Lanez caught the worst of it. That's not how they're viewing this at all. What happened was a sucker attack, an ambush, an attack from the back, not no man-up stuff. And they don't view this as a one-off incident, as an isolated incident between Tory Lanez and a dude who don't like Tory Lanez. No, they see this as a strategic attack on the blacks. They see this as a race issue. And that dude just said, yo, we about to tear this place up. It's going to be an absolute race riot. It's a war going on right now. That's because Tory Lanez is an asset. And we're going to explain exactly what Tory Lanez have been doing that made Tory Lanez public enemy #1 to the Mexicans. Tory Lanez is seen as an asset. And just like any war, like if one country is about to attack another country, what they go for? They go for pivotal spots and pivotal assets first and strategic bombings.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez is the strategic bomb. He's the asset to the blacks. And he's been an asset in more ways than none. He's adapted to prison politics better than any celebrity I've ever seen, bro. He's entrenched in it right now. Also, Tory Lanez is Muslim. Well, he converted to Muslim. His Muslim name is like Amin Kabab.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
he's
yeah.
Muslim now. So now those are
yeah.
another politics in the play.
Oh, yeah.
This is bad.
What was it over? It was over some, what he had, did he have a debt, a gambling debt or something?
Nah, nothing like that. Shit, we don't even really worry about the whole situation, you know?
So it was just like some foul play, so it's gonna be up.
Yeah, it's it. For sure was some foul play.
Damn, cuz. Wasn't nobody right there with him? Wasn't nobody right there with him when he went down?
Yeah, I guess nobody wasn't. He was by himself out there. He got a whole tier full of necks. He had a whole tier full of necks. Wow. You already know, once we get our fishing, we put some player on first play.
I'm already knowing. God damn. You don't know if he's gonna be all right or not either.
Nah, we don't know yet.
Hey, yo.
He gonna be all right, so he gonna pull through that.
Keep the word in here. Foul play. When we get up out of here, right now the prison is shut down. Is a lockdown currently going on. But after that lockdown is up. But people the word in foul play, foul play, foul play. So only thing that you consider foul play is when you attack damn near an innocent man, or when you attack somebody because of their race and not because they did something to you personally. Or you attack somebody strategically to take them out. I'm speaking in code right now because I want y'all to really follow along and get it. but I'm going to lay this all out perfectly. But don't go nowhere. Just keep watching. I'm going to lay this all out perfectly for you, and it's going to make sense by the end of this video.
That's right. That's crazy because I've been out here. I've been the whole time he's been going through what he's been going through. I've been feeling like that man got railroaded. I hate to see him in that position. I'm glad.
Yeah, for sure, he got railroaded.
Yeah, he got railroaded. I'm glad that
That's the innocent man in prison, bro.
I believe it, 100%. How he been programming it? He been programming cool.
Man, all he do is program, come outside, work out, play ball, do him.
That's right. I heard it's been cracking up there too. It was a riot the other day, not too long ago.
Yeah, it was like I want to say like 3 weeks ago, the riot.
Yeah, I got
50 weeks.
You been straight though?
Yeah, he be cracking up there. Yeah, I just straight. You know me, keeping my head up high. I got so much love.
Here's what's going on. Tory Lanez have been using his money for a lot of good in prison, but he's also been using his money to do a lot of underhanded things in prison. And those things just came back to get him. One instance of Tory Lanez using his money for good is Christmas of last year. Tory Lanez made sure everybody commissary was filled to the brim. If you ain't have commissary, you had commissary that week because Tory Lanez looked out for everybody. Everybody was eating good that week off of Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez have been using his money to really help the facility, really help the inmates. Tory also currently has the Hand of God initiative where he's helping inmates who's facing life or inmates with really long sentences who want to file an appeal, who need legal help filing an appeal. He's helping them file appeals to get back in front of a judge and hopefully get their cases overturned if they're completely innocent. So Tory Lanez is doing a lot of good, and he has really ingratiated himself with the people. People in jail, like specifically the Black inmates, the Muslim inmates, they love Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez is like a king in there. Tory has also been using his money for nefarious activities in prison. He's been moving like a Don Dada. He's been moving like an absolute pharaoh in prison. Nobody can see or touch Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez is really moving like a kingpin in that bit, bro. He's dropping bags on people. Anybody got an issue with Tory Lanez, bro? You got 100 dudes to go through before you can get to Tory Lanez, bro. I was told personally by somebody, bro, Tory Lanez is terrorizing that jail. Not really terrorizing the blacks because they are running together, bro. But if you look at Tory Lanez the wrong way, you might get done up. Like, not by Tory, just by somebody who want to prove himself to Tory, bro. Like, that's how bad it is right now. And Tory Lanez hasn't been hiding the kingpin. Tory Lanez has been rapping about on multiple songs about how, he's the king of the yard, bro. He putting bags on people if it comes to that. And I was told this ain't no rap cap. I was told this is really happening in real life behind the bars. In a recently released song with DDG that Tory Lanez recorded from behind prison using a jail phone, Tory Lanez actually rapped about some activities he's currently doing in prison, which is running the yard and putting bags on people and getting others to do his dirty work if people get out of line.
Sent me to prison and all that it taught me is if it go down, how to stab the shit out you. Tommies and buckets, the knives, the thumpers, the lock and the sock, just to crack the shit out you. I call a shot on the yard, you a problem. My son out there hitting cash out the shit out you. Standing on business and standing on business. J pay the killers and stand on the witness. COs are hating, they banning my visits. They claiming they caught me with hands on the titties.
There's one incident in particular I was told about where a dude owed Tory Lanez a gambling debt. Now, I don't know why Tory Lanez is in jail gambling, but he's gambling. I'm assuming to pass time. But here's the thing, bro. When somebody owe you money, like in a real world, you can probably say, bro, I'll let it go. I don't care. But in prison, bro, you cannot show weakness, and just letting a gambling debt go like that is showing weakness. So I was told Tory Lanez apparently had money owed to him by this dude. Dude was slow to pay up. Tory Lanez had some dudes jump the dude and beat him up. Right? Tory Lanez put the bag up. And I'm not even saying he put the bag up like literally, because I'm sure these dudes will do anything for Tory Lanez behind bars, bro. But it feels like Tory Lanez got a crew of henchmen who is willing to do anything for Tory Lanez. Now, I was told that Tory Lanez have had some cross paths with some Mexicans or cross paths with some Hispanics in there that ain't go well. And they're beginning to feel that Tory Lanez was having too much power in that jail, bro. They was beginning to feel like, Tory Lanez is bringing in cell phones, bringing in drugs, allegedly, bro. I don't know, allegedly, bro. All right, allegedly, bro. I don't know. Okay, I don't know, allegedly, bro. All right, but when you're a Mexican and you look at Tory Lanez and you think of it as a war going on, or let's say war is pending, and you look at Tory Lanez as a valuable asset, because he's a multi-millionaire, he's able to bring in Shanks, bring in drugs, right?
Yeah.
Bring in resources, bring in.
Yeah, so basically, you know, Tory Lanez got stabbed in jail, but they said he having his way in the joint. You know what I mean? Took a shahada, alhamdulillah, and you know, a Mexican stabbed him. Now, for y'all that ain't never been to prison, let me take you to prison. How it works. And I told you, California different. I never been to California prisons. I've been the only prisons I ever been in my life. I've been charged state. I never been with the feds. Never had no run-ins with them. You get what I'm saying? Except for one time, and I was already doing a 14-year sentence. And you know what I'm saying? That's it. But in prison, bro, dudes with money walk heavy. Now, it's two types of dudes with money. It's dudes with money that dudes gonna play with, and it's dudes for money that know how to handle it. So, you know, Tory Lanez taking shahada, looking out for the brothers. He looking out for a few dudes. He helped dudes get the joint. They saying he had a little gambling debt. You know what I mean? Your head can get big with that type of paper. But the Mexican ran down on him and put that push rod in him. You know what I mean? Which is going to spark a race war, because at the end of the day, like he said, for the blacks and definitely the Muslim, he the card. He the card, he the ticket. He making sure everybody eat, making sure none of the brothers hungry. You get what I'm saying? So dudes get jealous of that. In prison, dudes get jealous of anything. Dude might be jealous because you go to visit too much. Dude might be jealous because you go to fold too much. Dude might be jealous because you go to commissary too much. Dude might just be jealous. Prison is a place full of jealousy. And, you know, Tory Lanez is walking the yard with some good men. You know what I mean? But the one thing for sure and two things for certain, any man can be stabbed in prison. Anybody. Anybody can be stabbed in prison. Anybody. I'm just letting you know, don't ever think it can't happen. You know what I mean? Some dudes that don't get stabbed in prison. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, but you know, he got stabbed. He got stabbed bad, bro. He got stabbed bad. That boy called him 7 in the morning, put it on him. A lot of dudes don't even come out in the morning. You get what I'm saying? And then they said he was on the tier with a bunch of, you know, Hispanics. And Hispanics, you know, particularly Mexicans, they don't really go for us. You know what I mean? They waiting for any Sunday. They go just as hard as us. And just as hard as us. But you know what I mean? Where I'm at, the boys ain't go for it. You know what I'm saying? They just Maryland state joint. The boys ain't go for it. You know what I mean? In them federal joints in them California prisons, because you know Maryland is not over factuated with multicultures. Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. You know what I mean? I don't even know why they restricted your message. You know, retracted it. Oh, you message retracted. Yeah, that's a fact though. That's a fact though, bro. You know, you gotta be put on game, and you get put on game. It's like you gotta move a certain way when you behind them doors. That's just the true to life. You have to move a certain type of way when you behind them doors. You know what I mean? You gotta move a certain type of way when you behind them doors, or you get hurt. So, bro, it is said a Mexican dude, yeah. Yeah, boy look like he do that too.
Has been identified tonight in the prison stabbing of former hip hop star Tory Lanez. According to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Lanez was stabbed by inmate Santino Casio at a housing unit at the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi. That attack happened early yesterday morning. An Instagram post from Lanez's account says he was stabbed 14 times in that attack, causing both of his lungs to collapse. The post goes on to say he's now breathing normally and is in good spirits. The former rapper was sentenced to 10 years in prison back in 2023 after shooting fellow hip hop star Megan Thee Stallion at a house party in Los Angeles. Casio was serving a life sentence in prison after being convicted of second-degree murder in 2004.
That's what we got going on, man. We got the boy Diddy. We got Tory Lanez, man. Keep, man, the Muslims, man, please make dua for Tory Lanez. Hope that brother get out of that. And it's a learning lesson. How long has Tory Lanez been incarcerated? Chat, somebody put that down below for me. How long has he been incarcerated? Yeah, no, the kitchen ain't really the best spot. I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. The walk to the kitchen, yeah, but in the kitchen, that's primetime TV. You know what I mean? It's 1,000 men in the kitchen. Primetime TV, you're gonna get some assistance. It's gonna get ugly. You know, prison, you know, dudes snuck Tory Lane. You know, that's just how it goes. Just like on the streets, bro. Element of surprise is everything. So Tory Lane went through the element of surprise. He got caught with his head down. That's how it is. In prison, you know what I mean? In prison, you can't walk around joking. In prison, you can't move around and act like you all right. You know what I'm saying? Hell no. Hell no. Camp, lows, you know what I mean? Now, what I mean by that, for those who don't know what I mean, like that, low securities, but them serious prisons, bro, you can't even walk around with your slippers on. They gonna catch you with your slippers off, they gonna hurt you. You can't walk around with your shoes off. You ain't supposed to walk around with your shoes off in no facility, but there is facilities that you can walk around with your shoes off. Real shit. It's this facilities that you can walk around with your shoes off. You know what I mean? You ain't supposed to, but you can wear flip flops in these camps, in these halfway houses, because dudes going outside every day. Dudes engaging with the public. So, but in prison, you don't have no public. You know what I mean? Oh, so he been locked up 2 years. Yeah, he got a long way to go. But I'm gonna tell you what Tory Lanez ain't gonna do. When he get out the hospital, when Tory Lanez get out the hospital, he ain't gonna fuck around with them fuck arounds. I promise you, that teach you a valuable lesson. If you want to know anything, that teach you a valuable lesson is getting stabbed, bro. Like that shit serves because you could die. You know what I mean? You could die. You know what I mean? You could die, bro. You could die, bro. I was locked up and heard about somebody die. Like I see dudes get stabbed up. I see dudes get put in wheelchairs. You know what I mean? I shit the belly of the beast, the bottom of hell, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You ain't even trying to do no shit like that. You get what I'm saying? You ain't even trying to have that mentality or even going through that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that's just how I feel about it. You know, I feel like, you know, yeah, man, 10 years, they did get that boy too much time. 10 years. 5 years, cool, but 10 years in prison, good God, California. Made a believer out of Tory Lanez. I know he cannot wait to get out of jail. He got about 3 more years before he go out for parole. I'm about to Google it right now. Like, I gotta see. Let me Google this right now. When is Tory Lanez release date? I want to know what his release date. Somebody tell me in the chat. Tory Lanez release date. Nah. Oh, I need to do this. When will rapper Tory Lanez be released from prison? I don't got nothing in here. When he supposed to be released? Let me put this in. Anybody know? Put it in the chat. It is. Okay. They say Tory Lanez is expected to be released from prison in 2033. He is serving a 10-year sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? And is likely to be likely eligible for parole in 2029. Yeah, so yeah, that's 5 years from 23. Yeah, 6 years. So they saying, you know what I mean, he can get out in 4 years, but you know, his release date is 2033. And he just got stabbed. That's tough. Your release date 2033 and you just got stabbed. Jesus. But I would keep it real with you. It's 100% chance. I ain't gonna say 100% chance, but it's a 90% chance that when he go off for parole in 2029, they should give it to him. Or I don't know how California work. I mean, I think, you know, in 5 years he should have at least a sentence of modification or something. You know what I mean? He should be able to get that time back. He should at least do like 3-4 years, and he should at least be able to get time served and get, you know what I mean, kicked out the states. I don't think he's gonna serve the whole 10 years, but 2029 is his closest date to coming home. and that's what's hard. That's what's most difficult about it. 2020 to 2029. He gotta make the best out of it till then. But he be alright, you know what I mean? I'm just glad he breathing on his own and he get up, and then hopefully they move him to a facility, because he shouldn't be in no. I don't know how California work. Like 10 years and locked up for a little over 2 years, and you in a maximum security. Like, that's different. And you go off for parole in 4 years. Like, come on, man. You go for parole in 4 years. Like, think about this. California's so fucked up for those who know and those who don't know, right? You got 10 years, locked up 2 years and some change, and you in a facility where motherfuckers is still slinging knives. Like, wow. Like, he don't even have a record. Like, you would think they would move him fast, swiftly through the system. Like, yo, you gotta stay here. Y'all see your first 2 years. Like, this year, Tory Lanez should be moving to a lower security level. And I don't know how I work in California. So my advice to niggas, don't get knocked off in California. My homie got took by the U.S. Marshals in the middle of the streets by my house out here in San Valley, California. Damn, bro. Yeah, but see, he from California. You know what I'm saying? You understand the laws and shit when you ain't from California, like Boosie and anybody that get convicted. You don't know how they just Boosie. They just, Boosie just lost his appeal on the so now you got to go to trial for that gun. Like, California, wicked. That's why I don't see how them niggas be out that bitch doing all that dumb shit. Cause they smash niggas out there for shit show. They knock you off the beat racket, though. I ain't gonna hold you. But listen, man, I thank everybody for tapping in. Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, man. I'm back, man. You can catch me. I'll probably double up the day and come back on if I ain't moving around. But no fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the internet. Raw Dope Podcast Vlog.